Welcome back to Stoic Mind. We will speak about how Stoicism conquers fears. In this video we are going to cover the dichotomy of control and the power of rational thinking, practicing voluntary discomfort, and lastly memento mori, the ultimate fear destroyer. Fear. Fear is a natural human emotion that arises in response to perceived threats or dangers. It is an evolutionary survival mechanism designed to protect us from harm, triggering the body's fight-or-flight response. While fear can be useful in situations involving real physical danger, it often manifests in irrational or exaggerated ways, such as fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown. In Stoicism, fear is seen as a product of our judgments rather than an objective reality. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This means that fear is not caused by events themselves but by how we interpret them. Stoicism teaches us to confront fear with reason, recognize what is within our control, and develop emotional resilience. By mastering fear, we gain wisdom, clarity, and the strength to act according to our values rather than being paralyzed by anxiety. Fear is powerful because it is deeply rooted in our survival instincts. It triggers the fight-or-flight response, releasing adrenaline and heightening our senses to prepare us for immediate action. This evolutionary mechanism was essential for early humans facing physical threats, but in the modern world, fear often manifests in psychological forms: fear of failure, rejection, uncertainty, or loss. Why fear holds so much power? It influences decision-making. Fear can cloud our judgment, making us act impulsively or avoid taking necessary risks. Many people stay in unfulfilling jobs or relationships because they fear change. It feeds on the unknown. Uncertainty breeds fear. When we don't know what will happen, our minds tend to imagine the worst, creating unnecessary anxiety. It can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Fear of failure often leads to inaction, which ironically results in failure. The more we avoid what we fear, the stronger it becomes. It creates emotional and physical reactions. Fear isn't just in the mind, it affects the body. Racing heart, sweating, and tension are all physical responses, making fear feel even more real. How Stoicism weakens fear's power. The Stoics teach that fear is a judgment, not a reality. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." By recognizing that most fears are mental constructs, we can train ourselves to respond with wisdom and rationality rather than panic. Through Stoic practices like the dichotomy of control, memento mori, remembering death, and voluntary discomfort, we learn that fear loses its power when we confront it with reason and action. Fear controls those who let it. Wisdom and courage belong to those who master it. It's something we all experience. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of the unknown. Fear has a way of controlling our actions, limiting our potential, and keeping us from living the life we truly want. But what if I told you that fear is nothing more than a perception, something you have the power to control? This is where Stoicism comes in. Today, on Stoic Mind, we will explore how Stoicism helps you conquer fear, cultivate wisdom, and develop the unshakable strength of a Stoic. If you find value in this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Stoic Mind for more insights on mastering your emotions. Let's begin. To understand how Stoicism conquers fear, we must first understand what fear really is. Fear is an emotion triggered by the unknown or by perceived danger. While fear can be useful in certain situations, like avoiding real physical threats, most of the fear we experience is psychological. We fear rejection, embarrassment, failure, and even success. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Fear exists in the mind. It is our interpretation of reality, not reality itself. This is why Stoicism is so powerful. It trains us to change our perception and see fear for what it truly is, an illusion that can be controlled. Segment 1. The dichotomy of control. The dichotomy of control is a fundamental Stoic principle that divides all things into two categories. Things we can control are thoughts, actions, choices, and attitudes. Things we cannot control, external events, other people's opinions, our past, and natural occurrences. Why is this important? Fear, anxiety, and frustration often stem from trying to control things beyond our power. The Stoics teach that wisdom lies in focusing only on what we can control and accepting everything else with calmness and resilience. Epictetus on the dichotomy of control. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle: some things are within our control and some things are not. When we accept this, we free ourselves from unnecessary worry. Instead of fearing failure, we focus on effort. Instead of fearing rejection, we focus on our character. Example in action. Imagine you're preparing for a job interview. You can control your preparation, mindset, and how you present yourself. You cannot control the interviewer's mood, competition, or final decision. A Stoic would focus on preparing well and performing their best, while letting go of anxiety about the outcome. How it helps conquer fear. By applying the dichotomy of control, we stop fearing the unknown and focus on what truly matters. This shift in perspective leads to inner peace, better decision-making, and emotional resilience, key elements of Stoic wisdom. One of the fundamental teachings of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Epictetus taught that there are things we can control and things we cannot. Fear often arises from focusing on things outside our control. Marcus Aurelius writes, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Think about it: fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of the future. These are all based on external factors. But what if, instead, you focused only on what you can control: your actions, your thoughts, your effort? Suddenly, fear loses its power over you. Segment 2. The power of rational thinking. What is rational thinking? Rational thinking is the ability to analyze situations logically, make decisions based on reason rather than emotion, and seek truth objectively. It involves evaluating evidence, considering different perspectives, and avoiding cognitive biases that distort judgment. Stoicism and rational thinking. The Stoics believed that reason, logos, is what separates humans from animals. Marcus Aurelius emphasized rational thinking in Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This means that by thinking rationally, we can control our reactions, reduce fear, and make wiser choices. Key elements of rational thinking. Objectivity, seeing things as they are, not as we emotionally perceive them. Logical reasoning, making conclusions based on facts, not impulse or fear. Self-reflection, examining our thoughts and questioning our assumptions. Emotional control, not letting emotions dictate our decisions. Adaptability, being open to changing views based on new evidence. How rational thinking conquers fear. Fear thrives on uncertainty and emotional exaggeration. Rational thinking dismantles fear by breaking down the worst-case scenario, questioning whether the fear is justified, focusing on practical solutions rather than panic. For example, if you fear public speaking, rational thinking helps you realize the audience isn't judging you as harshly as you think. You can prepare and improve over time. Even if you make mistakes, it's not life-threatening. Final thought. Rational thinking is a mental discipline that leads to wisdom, calmness, and resilience. By mastering it, we free ourselves from unnecessary fear and make better decisions, just as the Stoics taught. Stoicism teaches us to use rational thinking to break fear down. When you feel fear, ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? What is the worst that can happen? Will this matter in a year? By analyzing fear through reason, you strip it of its emotional weight. Marcus Aurelius often wrote in his Meditations about the importance of seeing things objectively. He reminds us, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. This means that fear only has power over us if we allow it. Practicing voluntary discomfort. A powerful Stoic exercise to overcome fear is voluntary discomfort. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, practiced living with less, eating simple foods, wearing simple clothes, and exposing himself to discomfort. Because once you experience the worst and survive it, fear loses its grip on you. Try this yourself. If you fear embarrassment, put yourself in slightly uncomfortable situations. If you fear failure, deliberately take on challenges where you might fail. By exposing yourself to discomfort, you train your mind to handle fear with strength and resilience. Memento mori, the ultimate fear destroyer. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is memento mori, remembering that you will die. While this might sound dark, it is actually liberating. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. When you accept the reality of death, fear loses its power. You stop worrying about what others think. You stop hesitating. You start acting with purpose. You live fully because you realize that time is limited. So how does Stoicism conquer fear? By teaching us to focus only on what we can control, to see fear as a perception, to use reason instead of emotion, to practice voluntary discomfort, and to embrace memento mori. With these tools, fear no longer controls you, you control it. Remember, fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. Live with courage, think with wisdom, and act with purpose. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to Stoic Mind for more content on mastering your emotions through Stoicism. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic,